The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
The Hit Back with Nahaja Black is sponsored by J.S. Johnson, Atlantis Paradise Island, Central Bank, Airborne Freight and Cargo Service, BTC, Baja Retreat and Spa, and First Caribbean Bank.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It is a beautiful day here in the 242. I hope that you are doing well, taking care of yourself and living your best life as best as you can, as best as you know how, especially on weekends or weeks like today, right? I'm not good today. I think a lot of us are not good today, right? A lot of us are not in a good place today. It's been a long day. I'm sure that every show that you've listened to today, and every chat and all weekend, getting information, of course, on what we all have heard. That was a developing story for a lot of us that we had heard coming down to the end of the week of another case, but one that is so severe, so triggering for many people. So it was a tough weekend for me. I'm sure as others, as we heard about the tragic passing of a 4-year-old child due to sexual assault, right? And it is one of those situations where you don't know what should be your response. There's outrage. There is sorrow. There is guilt. There are questions of who we are. There are questions of the criminal justice and reform, questions of how is this possible? Then there's frustration of why does this keep happening? And when will it end? Then there's a reminder for all victims of assault, male and female, that some will not get justice, right? Some won't get justice. So it was just for many very disturbing, right? Very disturbing. And she, and then she was murdered, and I'll go with that. The baby was murdered. This was heinous. And when something hits you so core to the core and you're speechless, you don't know how to respond. Like, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Who do you talk to? Like, how do you get this out? Because I was trying to avoid hearing any news about this tragedy, right? This tragedy, this vicious, vile, contemptuous act, this wickedness, this perversion that is not exclusive to one baby. It is not exclusive to one baby in this country. That's what breaks my heart. That beautiful child had to suffer in those moments, that horrendous action. Is what breaks my heart. And then knowing that we in the Bahamas have a story that is filled with vileness, that is filled with incest. Family Islands, here in New Providence, filled with uncles and aunts and neighbors and cousins. 1 in 4, our statistics say, has been affected by sexual assault. So that means that 1 in 4 people are triggered to the point that they've been driven to drink, driven to cry, showed up to work depressed, didn't show up at all. 1 in 4 are reliving a nightmare every night whilst some of us go to sleep. What about the babies? See, this is like y'all gotta feel me, you know. We go through this, we go through this. I remember when I was young and I heard the news of a 6-year-old who was found coming out of the bushes somewhere in the Bahamas with blood coming down her legs. 6-year-old raped. We had a recent incident where if it wasn't for a well-known figure, where the man tried to hold the little girl on the side of the road while walking to a classroom. The incidences of rape and sexual assault is so pervasive in this country. How many times people have tried to report because the person is well known? You see, there's so much, and my heart is broken. Y'all don't even understand how I don't know what to do anymore. How I don't know what we do anymore. What do we do? It's like it is a broken, like how do you look at a baby and be attracted to a baby? I got an 8 and a 10-year-old, y'all, and I can't fathom, I can't fathom this. I don't know this, So then what is the question? And I got now all of a sudden I'm talking and all kind of children making noise in the background, But how do we deal with this? And somebody says, let us not think the Bella story is isolated. That's what scares me. You see, what y'all hearing is this story of a baby tragically taken from us, from a vile human being. But there are a lot of vile human beings walking around in this country for the things that they've done to young people in this country. Every day, people are in sorrow and mourning, can't tell their co-worker of the victimization impacted on them. We have a culture, keep it quiet. So that's why a lot of people don't know what to do. That's right. And then you have a whole case with a pastor, Pastor Frazier. This predatory behavior. We got islands filled with incest and we joke about it because the law won't do anything about it. Get raped by the right one, not the wrong one, the right one, because somehow when you get raped by certain people, it don't get reported. We need to have a real conversation here as woman to women. You see, because I'm going to talk about to the fathers in a minute. But sisters, we need to woman up. We need to woman up. We need to woman up because I know of some mothers, but I've been told the stories by the daughters who are victims. When the mother says, listen, man, we need to pay the rent, he needs to have you. This is the Bahamas. This is the place where my pastor used to say, the place where God lives, but how can he reside in us? The challenge we face is, sisters, you need to figure out, and this is why there's so many things. Holistically, we have to deal with some things. We got to deal with ourselves in the country holistically. Stop depending. You got to protect your children. They come out of your womb, protect them. Where is your, come on, man. Pay attention. Pay attention. No one can protect them, but you pay attention. Now, I'm not saying that this happens, and there are a lot of mothers who fight tooth and nail when they find out, and justice will not prevail. But then there are some folks who just because they've been abused, no one saved them, no one can save you, little girl. This brokenness, that's why I said broken children become broken adults who build a broken nation. Fathers, you got to show up too. Where were you? Fathers, don't let nobody else raise your children. Fathers, don't let nobody else raise your children. And mothers, stop keeping your children away from their father unless it is somehow where they're unhealthy or that relationship is toxic. And judges, if a father is a better parent than the mother, give that child to the woman, to the man. This is a holistic thing. We've got to protect our children. Nobody seems to protect the women and children. We talk this thing. This is like, we talk this too much. We talk this too much. We talk it too much. There's too much talking. But children are being savaged. Who are they protecting? The little boys. We think that we don't even discuss the little boys who get sexually assaulted. Behind these gates, but people with money, it ain't just a poverty issue. It's a character issue. And I don't know. It's like, what can we do unless it's you and I now? It's you and I now. It's you and I now. You and I. There are some folks who will be in some serious guilt. They're feeling guilty because of seeing signs and not being able. And you know what it is? This is a culture of what's in the house is your business. We don't want to interfere. We don't want to interfere. How many times you knew somebody was getting assaulted? And you didn't say anything. You didn't call the police when you heard her screaming out. You didn't call the police. And then when the police come, if they come, it's a domestic matter. Where do women run if they gotta run? How do men get justice to keep their children? There's some good men. There's some good men. Fathers who want to be fathers to their children, and the woman, sisters, and the woman is keeping their children away from the men. You know how many good men are trying to visit their children? But brothers, y'all got to start being man too and man up. Be there for your father. Women, woman up. Stop depending on others to take. Listen, there's a village, but you got to know how to protect yourself. And I'm not feeling this whole victim thing, and I know I got to go to a break. Let me tell you, you can be a victim and be subject to the victimization your whole life, or you can be a victim and then become victorious despite it. So feeling sorry for yourself by being a victim and not protecting your children, you are now also the victimizer. Don't give me that story, well, I was abused and at some point you got to be accountable. Don't you believe it? Boyfriend? Listen, boyfriend. We can take a break. I need a break. I need a break. Why do I need a break? Because I don't even know. We need a break. We need a break. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja, the Black Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
He gives beauty for ashes, strength for fear, gladness for mourning, peace for despair. He gives beauty for ashes, strength for fear, gladness for mourning, peace for despair. When sorrow seems to surround you, when suffering hangs heavy on your head, know that tomorrow brings Gladness for mourning, peace for despair. He gives beauty for ashes, strength for fear. Gladness for mourning, peace for despair. When what you've done.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
We are working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We're talking now about, of course, the tragedy. And the tragedy is that a 4-year-old is gone for sexual violence. That is murdered. Most heinous way. It's like a form of torture, and a 4-year-old baby. Y'all don't understand. Man, listen. Anyways, what that is driven, what is it? Many have brought up this topic and this conversation of who. I walk away with the question: who are we? When are we going to be this people that demand that there be, the sexual offenders list and registry, shelters for women, counseling for the victimized, etc. When do we know these things? And I got, of course, in the show, of course, my good friend, we'll be talking a little later, C.A. Nuri, but I want to bring on someone who, today when I was going through this, because I'm in a spiritual space, right? I'm in a very sorrowful, I'm grieving now, and I'm grieving not just for this wonderful baby, Bella, who the Prime Minister had a wonderful statement. Let us remember her for who she was and was to be, and not in the tragedy that took her life. And I think that was a wonderful way to think about her. For those who knew her, the joy she brought and not the way that she left the earth. God took an angel to save her suffering. That's what I will go with right now. But I wanted so I sought spiritual counseling today, right? I said I needed for something to hold on to. And for me, in my position of, Lord, what do you want? What do we say to the people who are broken? Because this is 1 in 4, y'all. 1 in 4 of us are victims of sexual assault. That's crazy. 1 in 4, and I can tell you it's true. I got a group of 4 friends, and one of them definitely could tell the story. But I want to invite, just for a brief segment, I always want to bring, men or women of spiritual positioning who can speak to the people, speak to the nation. Sometimes for those who believe in the power of prayer, you got to understand how important it is when we are in a spiritual place that you need to be spoken to. And I want to welcome Apostle Benjamin Smith to the show. Apostle Smith, welcome to the show.
Indeed, it's a privilege and honor to be here and to share this time with you, of course.
Well, Apostle Smith, I want to welcome you and I thank you because this is really short notice. We just spoke right before showtime and you agreed to give me, 15, 20 minutes of your time today. Just really, I need to get, man, Apostle, what's going on, man? What's going on? Who are we? What is going on? I need some spiritual guidance, and I think a lot of my listeners do too. And when I say spiritual guidance, we need a balm. And some of us have been praying to God for healing for others and for healing for the families and all of the children who are going through this now, all of the women who are struggling right now to get out of abusive relationships, men who are in abusive relationships. Apostle, talk to me. Talk to me.
Well, it's at these times and these seasons that we must look to the Lord. We must look to Elohim, Yahweh, the creator of the earth, and to understand that things that happen, they're not his fault, because the spiritual is always first. But of course, we live in this physical realm. And a lot of things that happen in the earth realm, it's because of man's decisions and the foundations that we have come from. And it's so unfortunate that the moral fiber of society has been exposed. It's dwindling. And so it behooves us to rebuild the foundation of true family and to rebuild the foundations that, really deal with ethics and the sanctity of life. And of course, how to honor, how to respect laws, just laws of life itself, and to move forward from there. It's at these times that, when we look at the blood of the innocent crying out from the ground. And, there's a scripture where God says, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. When it comes to the Lord being the avenger of innocent blood, I don't want to find out what that means. Because how is the blood of the innocent that have been shed, that it causes a lot of consequences. And of course, these are times that we have to take things on. We must move forward. There must be an initiative in terms of prayer, in terms of not just praying for elections or before elections, but what do we do as a nation afterwards? There has to be a time of seeking God every month or every 3 months, whatever they want to do in terms of a national type of prayer, repentance for the sins and the iniquities and the transgressions, not only of the forefathers, but for the people themselves. Everyone is hurting in some type of way. And the only way to really look for a solution is to turn towards our Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. We are at a particular time where we must pray for comfort. The Bible talks about comforting those that mourn, and that he will give us beauty for the ashes, the oil of joy for mourning. But we are at a time we must confront the perversions. We must confront, those things that have been eating away at the moral fiber of society. We have to really look at proper psychological evaluations and rehabilitation. We must look at what is happening, because if this is only a picture, this is only a picture of the many that are out there.
That's right.
And this is only an example. Let's just put it this way. This person got caught. What about the others that are out there? And it brings us to a place of awareness that we're not as perfect as we seem that we are. It brings us to a place of awareness that there are people who are suffering from domestic violence and from incest and molestation, abuse of every kind that is out there. And there must be a contingency plan in place, proper strategic thinking and thinkers that can really create measures where these things do not happen again, or that there are some really plans in place that will prevent them from happening. So there has to be an awareness. I believe this was a wake-up call again.
But
yeah.
How many times, Apostle Benjamin Smith, and why I'm so happy you're here, Apostle, is because, of course, the country knows you as one of its, as a man who's in tune with God, speaking in the prophetic and all of that powerful stuff. But you are a man who speaks in accordance to not just the Bible, but you go into history and so forth. Here is where my challenge lies, Apostle. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is not the third time. Sad to say that we are a country rife with this sort of iniquity in us, filled with this, right? My good friend CA did a post earlier today talking about we were number one in the region. And I have to ask him where that data comes from with regard to rape, with sexual assaults.
Wow.
Number one in the region, right? What concerns me is though that churches are on every corner. We go to church on Sunday. We speak to God. And so there is this level of supposed spiritual awakening or spiritual understanding, but there's a deep-seated issue of sexual perversion. And I'm trying to figure out, of course, Apostle, you're quite aware, we've had pastors go to jail for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
We are in crisis when it comes to these perversions in our country, and it is allowed to perpetuate behind politics and clergy. It is allowed to perpetuate the lowest and the highest rungs of society. What should we be expecting?
Well, the thing about it is that what I have found that, there are questions in life that we will not be able to answer. We just have to kind of settle that there are things that we cannot answer in terms of what is going on. There are some things that can never be explained in life, and we have to accept that as well. And we have to settle that even if we weep about it, we worry about it, it doesn't change anything, because there has to be a plan in place. We have to know who we are, know our limitation, know what we are responsible for and what we are not responsible for. We always say that, God is in control, but the real truth of the matter is we live here. And as human beings, it is part of our foundation to be able to confront what is negative, to confront the social ills of society. It takes a village to raise the child. But what happens when you have a sick village? What happens when the village is dysfunctional? What happens when there's no foundation and no moral ethics or philosophy within that village? And I think this is where we need to be able to overcome. We need to be able to understand that faith is strong. In the midst of it, we really need God. We really need to understand that our present crisis that we are going through is a place of opportunity. But crisis really exposes everything. It exposes what is happening underneath. And it is at this time that we must create the type of programs and the type of teams that we need that can facilitate healing for the nation, healing in every aspect, because what we are going through, it's not just a spiritual thing, but there must be practicality to the spirituality. And that when we need to understand that the innocent blood is crying out, that's why I said it at the beginning. God says that I am the avenger of innocent blood. And when innocent blood is shed, it means that we are responsible for that life. And it also means that we cannot allow any other innocent blood to be shed. And that means that there has to be proper planning. There must be consequences. Of course, the consequences, the laws of the nation must be effective and they must kick in. Because regardless of who it is, whether it's a pastor or a priest or a rabbi or anyone else, we need to take these things seriously. You know, in the scripture, some things happened. Rapes took place. Remember now, David killed Uriah to go after his wife. We look at another situation where his own children, where there was abuse and where there was incest and there were things going on. The brother slept with the sister. And of course, we know what happened there. The sword did not leave that house. There were consequences. In fact, in one of the instances, there was a particular king that cut up the body of the child and sent it to 12 tribes because of that sexual assault that was done. And so these are not times that, just new. No. This is an old problem that needs a solution, that needs to be rectified. And crisis has a way of bringing us back to a place of unity. It causes us to reprioritize what life is all about, causing us to understand who is important and what is important as a nation and as a people. That's why the Bible said, if my people which are called by my name will humble themselves. All of these crises and crises have helped us to humble ourselves, at least we hope so, humble ourselves before God. And then he said, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. These ways are wicked. They're wicked ways, twisted, perverted. And that's the reason why the altars of perversion must be confronted. They must be confronted. And when you confront an altar, it means you have to rebuild an altar to replace that altar. We've been breaking down altars, but not rebuilding. We've been confronting issues, but where's the replacement? Because for every demonic system, there has to be a kingdom model that rebukes it and that replaces it. We need to replace it with holiness, with moral standards, with ethics. We have to go back to laws that govern life. My generation, your generation, the generation before, we understood some things and we honored people. We respected life.
Yeah.
We respected life. And
but
so
Apostle,
we are rebuilding.
Apostle Benjamin Smith, I want to thank you for your time. We have to do some segments and sessions a bit longer, just talking about, the spiritual trajectory of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because you're right, we got to rebuild some altars. But now, there's political intention, there's spiritual intention. Very few times you see both intertwined and connected, but everybody's going to church. Everybody's going to church, Apostle. Everybody's going to church. But yet we still have so many abuses in country. It's just crazy to me. It's still crazy. I don't even.
I totally agree with you. I believe it comes to a place of realizing when you realize who you are and you go back to your identity, you go back to who you are, and you begin to understand from the very beginning when God created man in his image, his likeness, he called everything good. So how did it become evil? And if it is evil, how do we fix it? We need a solution to the problem. We can identify, but we need the solution to the problem. We can pray, we can repent, we can turn, but we need to have a change of mindset, a change of paradigm if it's going to be fixed. Otherwise, we end up perpetuating the same pattern of our forefathers and of our generations. And so this is the reason why there must be a day of prayer. We must lift up the family. We must lift up the community. We must seek God like never before. And it's like I said, it's one thing to acknowledge God. It's another thing to walk in his ways.
Well,
so there are people who go to church, but that doesn't mean they walk in the ways of God.
I tell you right now, I need some of that God judgment, Apostle. I need some of that. Some folks, they walking around in suit and tie, and some folks go into the hotel and they know the wickedness they're doing at home. I just need God to do swift justice. Why God don't do swift justice? We'll talk about that another time. Apostle Benjamin Smith, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I always appreciate your time. Thank you so much. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll take a break. We'll take a break. We'll be back.
What happened to you? You look like you lost your paycheck.
Man, I just realized I got scammed out of a bunch of money. They said I won this contest and just needed me to send them some money so I could collect. I mean, to expedite something. Or was it to smooth the process?
Man, you're smarter than that. Protect yourself against scams and fraud by following these tips. If you know you didn't enter a competition, you can't win. Never pay to receive a cash prize. If you're being asked, you're being scammed. Check trusted internet sites for verification of information given to you. Do not give your banking details to people you don't know. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Monitor your bank account regularly for any questionable transactions. Get more information at getmoneysmartbahamas.com.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is safe and effective. Just one jab for now offers you protection against the serious risks of COVID-19. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine reduces the likelihood of serious illness, hospitalization, and death from COVID-19. Get vaccinated and help reduce the spread of COVID-19. To be safe, continue to wash your hands, wear your face mask, practice physical distancing, and get vaccinated.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health and this radio station.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back.
You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. The story that has really cast a dark cloud and shadow over the entire country is what you hate to say is just a snapshot of reality in country, of the amount of children and women and young men who are abused in this country, sexually abused, not just murdered. This baby was murdered. 4 years of violent. And I'm going to bring my friend CA on, but I want to share a story as I bring CA on with me. This issue of sexual abuse, sexual violence, rape, incest, molestation, and all of these wickedness, the intrusion of harm onto someone else's body so vile that you take away their choice to use power. You know how wicked and violent it must be where you see a child as an option. So your mind is already twisted and manipulated, deep, dark places. There's no sorrow for you. I actually saw a petition that was sent to me by someone with a petition seeking to reintroduce the cat and nine tail for sexual deviance, for molesters, right? And on its face, I understand its outrage. I understand the need to enact violence against the persons found guilty of such heinous activity. I won't castrate you, right? I want you to, but that is just one area. I understand that. I understand where they're coming from with that. And I want to see it, but then my critical mind goes into, but we are a civilized nation. You solve these problems collectively, and we don't want to be draconian in how we deal with things. What I don't like is that we don't have stiffer enough penalties for sexual predators. Rape somebody out in 6 years. To rape again? Nah, man. Child abuse? You remember the story, y'all. Y'all remember the story of the father who caught the fellow on his baby daughter, naked. Father tried to beat him to pulp. Daddy was almost charged with assault. Almost. But the fella got probation, I think, because he didn't penetrate. So you got to penetrate my child before you could be. See, stuff like this. This is, you see, and then we have this thing, okay, and this is some of the challenges, right? So the story is, and I feel poorly for the neighbors because they will carry some of this guilt, right? And I feel for some, I feel for them, because they'll carry this. But I feel for them. One of the challenges what we face is that we believe in corporal punishment in country. So when you hear a child cry and you say, well, what foolishness this child did? Yeah? But then there were other signs. So now we got to figure out how and what are the signs by which you now call the police, and when there needs to be a whole different division for sexual offenses. There's a whole, we are number one, and CA will tell me where this number came from, but number one for sexual assaults in the region. You know what it is to be number one, and that's per capita, right? Of course, it's per capita. But those are those cases reported. What about the ones underreported? Anyone remember the beginning of the pandemic? The mother and daughter who were killed by the boyfriend whilst the other daughter escaped with her life. You remember that? How many more children during this time of lockdown have suffered daily the torture and the agony? But the neighbors didn't, they didn't know what to do. And now we got to be serious about this in crime, serious about this with prevention, serious about this with a national outcry. I need all of my ladies in parliament and all of my fathers in parliament. I need everybody in parliament to tell the AG and the prime minister, no more slapping up. We need this predators list. And we don't care if your co-worker end up on the list. We don't care if the person sitting next to you ends up on the list. Because now we need not just a list. You see, I don't even just want the list because I got to go read the list. But now I want a place where we have a division that is solely for sexual offenses. And that when they are called, they run speedily to deal with these matters. That the rape kits don't disappear or dry up because they weren't done. Get DNA testing within country. You don't want them to send it out of country. I don't know if we still do that. But you need to be quicker in analyzing. Investigate, for God's sake. Let me stop talking. Let me bring my good friend, C.A. Nuri. C.A., welcome to the show, buddy. I'm having a tough day.
And I see that the entire nation mourns this tragedy, this tragic event. And we see the outpouring of support, the outpouring of concern, the outpouring of rage, the outpouring of helplessness, the outpouring of demanding more. And we are concerned as a nation. And I want Bella, the lovely Bella, to be the Bahamas's George Floyd, that we can now come together and herald her name, call her name out, and make her death not be in vain, that we're able to accomplish and move Bahamas forward with some new laws, with her name being branded on it, right? I pray that the women's group, the men's group, the church group, the NGOs, all take up this mantle and march forward in terms of coming up with strategies, in terms of partnering together, in terms of acknowledging that we have a problem and we need to deal with it, right? I don't necessarily think that the government can solve this by themselves, because this is systemic. It's in our communities. We've been hearing these talks for years, decades. We have heard about Family Island communities. Having issues, and make jokes of it. Big jokes. Family Island and make big jokes. So they have an incest problem, right? And we've never actually dealt with it, right? We never actually set a team down and said, we're going to solve this today. We're going to shut this out. We're going to solve this. So I'm hoping, I'm lost for words like what to say, because nothing seems right. Nothing seems sufficient, all right? Nothing seems adequate. So I believe we all need help. We all need each other's support to come together to find a solution that we can move forward with, because it cannot continue. This tragedy cannot happen again.
But it continues. And my thing is, CA, the sad part about this tragedy is that whilst Bella was dying, there were other children being molested at the same time. That's the tragedy. The tragedy is the reality that whilst that baby was seeing her last breath in the most violent of ways, there were other children dying, being abused. There was someone being raped and rights being taken away on a consistent basis. It breaks my heart. And I'm tired of crying, I'm tired of being broken by these stories. There has to be a moment where the crescendo, where we said, it has to end here. Now, we are not different. Other parts of the world, the most developed countries, it is a perversion of the person, right? We understand that. But where my problem lies, that it is very prevalent in our society. I had a good friend share something with me I didn't even know, Cecil, where when she went to go and work in Cat Island as a woman, she went and rented a place from this well-known man in Cat Island. And when she goes to bed, she's awoken by him in the place trying to rape her. She fights him off, beats him up because she was younger and he was older. She goes to report this to the police. And rather than getting resolution, they say, just stay in this apartment here. He's untouchable. She raises hell. She carries on bad, but nothing happens to him. But other young women come to her and say, he's done this to me. Now there's a case with his name finally in it, in the courts, right now. But she left the country because she couldn't deal with that trauma, the way we deal with sexual assault cases in country. She left the whole country. Brilliant Bahamian mind left the country because of no justice. As an adult, where's the justice for our children? See, this is where my issues come. Because it isn't that it just happens, it happens and it will continue to happen. Because every single one with charge, and now it's on us, you see, so that's why I say it's on us, because seemingly governments are taking their time because maybe the boys and the girls are part of the clique. Because somebody maybe behind a gate don't want their names on the list, you see? Nygaard was allowed to perpetuate his folly, but he ain't the only rich one who's allowed to do this level of wickedness in country. We got our own who doing this level of wickedness, hiding behind the coat of the clergy, hiding behind the desk of the major corporations, So they don't want to be on the list. But we human traffic for decades. You get rich, open up. Anyway, see, let me don't go there. The day ain't the day. My whole thing is, it got to be on us now to say enough is enough. And this one-off, we gonna march today. I think all of us in media have to find ourselves a united voice and refuse to make this relent and demand that change happens for the protection of our children. Build real shelters for our women and our children. Anyone who needs to run from abusive places and spaces, have a real section in the police force that is for, and I know I got to go to break, that is for sexual crimes. Train these officers on how to show up in domestic abuse situations. Man, we ain't serious. Anyway, we coming right back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We got news coming up next. We'll be back after.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and up. You believe in how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward. Never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, sending, I don't even know what to send. I don't know what to even say. We lost another one. The tragedy of the story continues to, I've heard that the alleged perpetrator had a rough night in prison, so in lockup. I don't know how true that is. My good friend C.A. rejoins me. But a statement was released by the Honorable Lisa Ramming. She is the Minister of Social Services. And it says, "It is with sadness as a mother and Bahamian to learn of the tragic passing of the 4-year-old girl. Troubling statistics show that the Bahamas ranks number 1 in the region for rape cases for both males and females." Wow. As a cabinet minister with carriage of the Gender and Family Affairs Division, I implore Bahamians to stand united against gender-based violence, violence against women, violence against men, and violence against children. We can only do this by being our brother's keeper, protecting each other, and by this, we would have a safer Bahamas. And that is from the Honorable Minister for State for Social Services and Urban Development. The Honorable Lisa T. Ramming. So number 1 in the region for rape cases for both males and females. I got to tell you another story. I know of a young man raped on his job at a government entity. Government job, raped. The fellow was acting like he was homophobic who raped him, but decided that he needed to rape him. But he had to meet the rapist at work every day. The young man started drinking, tried to commit suicide, left the country because he couldn't get justice. Boy, this is messed up. Someone says, what about the mother? She needs to go to jail as well. Please do not let her get away with this neglect and abuse. We got to make sure that you can't, look here, man. Oh, you better investigate. You better investigate. Yep, it's true. The stories, y'all don't know how much stories I'm told by victims. And this place is messed up. CA, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you again. And Nahaja, I'm going with your number of 1 in 4. I'm not sure if people understand what 1 and 4 means, how many people that is in this one country. I could appreciate the fact that maybe number 1 ranks number 1 in the region. I'm not sure if that's just the Caribbean or if that's the whole of the Latin America, all of the South America, inclusive of the Caribbean, as number 1. And when you picture 1 in 4, it suggests that we have an endemic. We have a problem. It suggests that the problem may be ingrained into our society. It suggests that the problem may be cultural. It suggests that we need to do more because it's systemic in how it happens. Because 1 in 4 is plenty. That is plenty, right? But when the stories that you said just now also hint that justice is denied. And if justice is not denied into the Bahamas regarding these cases, it's definitely justice delayed, right? And that is a different problem. That's an entirely different problem, that victims of sexual abuse and assault are not getting justice in the Bahamas, right? So that's something that we need to deal with separately from the crime, because there's one thing being assaulted, and then there's the next thing, you cannot go and get justice.
That's it. So that's a further level of injustice, further level of torture. You see?
And then you remember cases of other little girls who were abused, who were sexually assaulted, who were ruined by grown men. And you say that they got 4 years. You hear that they get 2 years.
Yep.
See, I can't fathom that. How can you ruin a young child's life and you get the maximum of 4 years? And in prison years, so you come out in 2. For a vicious and violent attack, and you come out in 2 years to live among society, to do it again. See, we need to have discussions like that on what is it that we want as a society. And I know you spoke earlier about the 7 strong and dynamic women we have in the House of Assembly now. And you said that they must convince their comrades. No, they don't need to convince their comrades. These are educated women who could put forward laws themselves, who can bring and table laws themselves. And we need to demand of them that we expect of you within 6 months to bring your own law.
Man, they don't even need that long. It's 7 of them. They don't need that long. It's 7. You could do 7 is the number of completion. They could be
give them a timeline.
And
we
get
need
it
to
done.
give them a timeline, Nahaja. If the problem now is us now. The problem now is us not pushing, not demanding, not asking for, not expecting better, right? Next week there'll be another scandal. We may forget poor Bella.
That's it.
But we have a duty of care. We have a duty of care for her to remember her and to herald her and to remember that her death will not be in vain. That we will make sure that this doesn't happen again. And by doing that, we need to demand more of the 7 women inside there. They need to represent women issues and then drag us along with them to say, come Nahaja Black, I'm speaking on this engagement and I need your presence there. Bring C.A. Nuri along with you so he can blog about it. Bring your children so they can hear what is happening. We cannot allow this to pass. This will be our George Floyd moment. There needs to be protest after protest. And if there's no justice, there should be no peace.
No peace. There should be no peace. And I'm totally with you on that.
Politicians uncomfortable. It will be so desperate and it's so dramatic that they make laws immediately. That by January 20th, there'll be new laws. Not saying we are dealing with it. We're investigating it. We're
saddened by it. Yeah.
You're saddened by it. Did you see how many press releases came out by the various politicians?
Man, listen, President I've gotten a statement and I'm happy that they are making statements. I've gotten statements from many members of Parliament. But here's my statements keep happening. Statements keep happening. And Marco's law, you understand what torture Marco went through, that baby. For every person who's a victim of abuse, for that family, for Marco's family, the pain is afresh, it's anew. This is murder. Murder happened to baby Bella. But with Marco's law, we still haven't seen it fully enacted. We're still not getting push notifications for the missing. When the 15-year-old goes missing at the old man's place, we call her fresh, but we don't see the man who's with the 15-year-old paraded for being a pedophile. We reduced the age of consent for the female at 16 to make sure they don't go to jail. But she can't vote until she's 18. She can't go and see the doctor to get birth control until she's 18. There's level of complicitness embedded in our structure so that these atrocities continue. Why is it that police officers on family islands know that there is incest that is rampant? But when social service workers try to get children out, they can't. But we make joke about how everybody's eyes are closed. Everybody looks so much alike. This is wickedness, man. Look at the ages of births giving place. Nobody going to jail for this. Come on, we got to do better. We have to do better. And so, you know, I ain't interested in sorry. I'm not interested in how sad. We need to enact true punitive measures and make a national campaign on if you say something, say something, right? We're playing games with this, man. This is depressing. Nationally, depressing. Nationally, we are crying inside. Fathers, y'all need to show up. Don't let nobody else raise your listen. And I know these court systems, some women are not good at being fair with fathers. They're just using their children as a ploy. That's the next level of wickedness. And then we got some brothers, y'all just ain't even interested in checking for your children so someone else can raise your child, touch up your child. Listen, it's just so much. It's so much, Cecil, you know, it's a holistic issue. It is a serious issue that we need to, as a society, intentionally, and it is us now, because government can't do everything, you know, but they need to facilitate the means by which we do. So we need more shelters. Government got to say, okay, listen, foam, candy, I know you're trying. A part of our urban development program, we got X amount of plywood and shingles. We're going to expand on your property. Wait, Candy, from foam. We're going to give you crown land. We're going to give you 3 acres of crown land. You're already doing something. Let's expand your space to make it a shelter. And all you got to do, because we ain't going to put red tape on telling you what to purchase or how you purchase what you need to purchase. But all we require is that you live up to the standard of we're taking care of people. Where's the Women's Crisis Center? I want to hear from, I need to know you're growing. Is the Women's Crisis Center growing? If we are number 1 in the region in rapes, is it growing? Do we have a 24-hour hotline? I think we do have a 24-hour hotline. But what happens when someone calls? Where is the crisis center for our children? You know, I think about this young girl all the time who had to be there in that house when her little sister and her mother were killed. Her little sister and her mother were killed violently, and she had to go and run for her life. That trauma is with that baby. How much therapy is that baby getting? All of these are victims. People are being triggered. 1 in 4, Cecil. 1 in 4. And I'm well past this. I think we have a call on the line. Let's get the caller on the show. Caller, you're on the hit back. Thanks for holding.
Calm down, girl. Calm down. Anyway, we need our government to get us a list of conventions that past and present governments. It's UN conventions that past and present governments have signed on to, and these things actually go against our children getting any justice in this country.
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
First thing I want to say for the caller, I don't know if you meant to insult me, but that was not the moment to do so. You don't tell a grown woman to calm down, and I am not your girl. So caller, next time, let's try and work on that for another day. Yeah, let's work on that. And I missed all of your point because I was already insulted. And I don't know if you meant to, but just a word of caution for the next time. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
What happened to you? You look like you lost your paycheck.
Man, I just realized I got scammed out of a bunch of money. They said I won this contest and just needed me to send them some money so I could collect. I mean, to expedite something. Or was it to smooth the process?
Man, you're smarter than that. Protect yourself against scams and fraud by following these steps. If you know you didn't enter a competition, you can't win. Never pay to receive a cash prize. If you're being asked, you're being scammed. Check trusted internet sites for verification of information given to you. Do not give your banking details to people you don't know. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Monitor your bank account regularly for any questionable transactions. Get more information at getmoneysmartbahamas.com.
So I come to work today, meet my coworker in front of the computer crying. AC sky high, but she's sweating. I ask her what happened. Apparently, she ordered some stuff online, but she fretting with this VAT increase. I told her I cannot guarantee she won't feel the pinch of the increase, but I can guarantee low rates on her shipping fee from Airborne Freight and Cargo Services. Then she can ask me if I'm sure they still will give her low rates in spite of the increase. I ask her what but that she don't understand. If she look at the alphabet, she will see A is A, B is B, C is C. That don't change. 1, 2, 3. I give the answer. Bye-bye.
Call Airborne Freight and Cargo Services at 377-0450 today.
With BTC Business's new smart solutions powered by super-fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black.
You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Listen, I'll tell you, to all of my folks who are saying, Nahaja, you needed to check him. I'll tell you what, the only reason why the gentleman didn't get a click right away, right? Because I always listen, my do unto others that you have them do unto you. And so I was trying to be patient and let the Lord make sure that I was saved in that moment. And but no, don't do it again. Don't call and tell. Listen, if it hit your spirit to do, April screen people, please, because if it hit their spirit wrong, violence will ensue. Okay, this could be that kind of day, because we ain't doing it today. That's the same issue we have in country right now. Everybody needs to calm. Don't talk to people who don't calm. See, now I'm not calm. Now I'm not calm. It calls me to raise my voice. CA, tell your counterparts, please. Tell your counterparts, warn them. Warn your gender.
I pray for change. And that is part of the problem that we are facing, women are facing inside the Bahamas right now, when men take liberties that they can speak and treat and touch and to solicit and to accost women any kind of way. They think that they are entitled. So they abuse women, and by extension, they abuse children, right? And I'm not even sure if he understands the violence he perpetrated in that phone call just now, right? And I'm sure that he didn't intend it, right? I'm sure that he didn't intend it, but it was violence in his approach. And this is where women are complaining now about men and the violence they perpetrate against them, that men feel entitled to speak, act, touch, and assault women in any kind of way, and such things need to stop.
No, yeah. Someone say he sounds abusive.
But you are a stronger person than me. I gotta say that you're a strong, blessed woman. Hallelujah. So
listen,
I appreciate you. I appreciate your strength. And It is good that you answered the phone and not I.
Yeah. No. It trust me. I'll tell you, it took a lot of restraint, Cecil. My eyebrow went up. It went up. I said, see, okay. I was about to say stuff what you say in private on air. Someone says, stronger than I try, the Lord, I have to be mindful. So a lot of texts are coming in today. I don't want to read some of them. And I think we have 2 callers. Wait. Let me get some of these callers, but we'll get to the texts as well. Keep texting, y'all. We'll get to those. Caller, you're on the hit back. Thanks for holding.
Hi, today, how you doing, Ms. Black?
I'm doing well, my friend, and you?
Not too bad. Every time I was proud moments like with Brave Davis, I was so proud to be able to hit, and now once again back down to 0 or 5-0. But yeah, good afternoon to you, guests. But you know what, Ms. Black? From I was a little boy in school, and before probably even my dad, I know I used to see the bus drivers with the little young girls or the girls, and when school go in, the girls go on the bus or whatever, taxi drivers going around taking people out or whatever, all kinds of days as a child I saw, and probably still going on to this day. But I know of young girls that go to the clinic, they're pregnant, and nobody never said, well, who is the daddy? When the daddy is, or the daddy, these little young girls in high school or whatever, though. I don't come the daddy-in-law, come if he working in the hotel or, he 21 years old or whatever. I guess that's a boyfriend, that's still a minor, you understand? And so we seem to want to, I don't know, like, skim past, like, and I guess the other thing is because we seem to be ashamed of what people can say or what my daughter and all that stuff, whatever. And I bet my daughters know that. Because I didn't ever catch them any kind of it, whatever. They didn't even have to worry about the police. They didn't worry about that. That's for my daughters. My daughters, I ain't really talking about the perpetrator. I'm talking about my girls. You understand?
Right.
So I understand. Like now that something drastic happened again, then we can talk about this for a couple of days or whatever, and then we can drop it again until something else happens. So
and that's what we have to fight. Caller, that's what we have to fight. We have to fight, and thank you so much, and I appreciate the call because I have someone else on the other line. But thank you so much for calling, and I appreciate your contribution. One of these things is that, as a note, there are a lot of, just to add some sort of context, not context, but some substance to that thought. There are a lot of things that after the initial shock, we as the general public move on, but there are a lot of bodies behind the scenes that keep pushing things. And what I say to those entities is use the source of the media, use media. And we as media hosts, we have to, and government should use us. We should be used to be able to move an initiative forward. If there's a policy that needs to be made, right? If there's a policy that needs to happen with regard to protecting our children, and you feel as if it's losing its wind, or you feel as if some of the members of parliament and your caucus are not going to support this bill or initiative, you think the prime minister is not going to. Our members of parliament, our cabinet ministers, you and I as citizenry need to find and learn how to build documents, right? If there are government members in parliament who feel as if they're losing support, you come to the media and say, listen, we need you guys to bring this back to the fore. We are all in this together to get the result of protecting our children. This is not a political issue. It is a policy one. How do we get justice? There must be stricter enforcement. There needs to be more of an investigative arm that is there to protect women and children, men and women who are a part of sexually based, physically based violence. Listen, we have to move this forward together. This is a national issue. And so there are entities behind the scenes that now need to come forward and say, we're locking arms across all of these islands, and we are moving this petition forward. This is the legislation, and you hand it to a member of parliament. And you say, I need you to sign on to this, and I need you to represent us in the House. We need to have more data. We need to know what's going on. So, we are all in this together. And so it should not move out of the front line Rather, it should continue. Shishina Roll in Grand Bahama. To Shishina Roll, news anchor in Grand Bahama, who did an exceptional series on her show. Years ago, Debbie Bartlett did one about sexual abuse, and Shishina won most recently. It's out there, it's prevalent. We got another call on the line. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome.
Yes, good afternoon to you and Mr. C.A. Newry. In 2008, we had where the Marco Archer, before Marco Archer was raped, that was in 2011, he was raped. And I personally made them aware of what was going on. So this started way before, and the former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander said that there's no outrage from those women. And the former woman parliamentarians are to be blamed for this because there's no other person dealing with this.
Mm-hmm. But sorry, so you said in 2008?
Yes, ma'am. I was on the air, babe, and everybody listening, Bahamas Against Rape and Human Trafficking, they told me I was talking nonsense. Okay? So therefore, the former woman parliamentarians were aware, and they had a meeting at Transfiguration Baptist Church. Okay? And they were aware of what was going on because some women were profiting from this. It's child pornography, sold it, and they are selling it to high-profile expatriates. Now, Berenice Johnson is the name. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, we got another call on the line. Caller, you're on the...
If you'd like to make a call, please...
Back online. I think I'm back. Cecil, am I back? Okay, I'm back.
You're back. Okay. I wasn't sure if it's me who was frozen or if it were you.
No, it was definitely me. I was lost in the wind. It was definitely me. All right. You know, one of these things, and we have a call on the line, and let's go to the caller, but we need to do something. We need to start getting, and I see Candy Gibson watching online. And Foam Bahamas has been doing some wonderful work. That woman is a powerhouse of a woman. And we need to support her as much as we can to help all of these disadvantaged persons. Man, listen. And then, man, you know what it is when you got the home. You remember, Cecil? We just had the video last year with the children's home, the children getting beat as a showcase. Jesus, we can't even, like, where they're supposed to be protected. We've beaten the children in a line and abusive in a way. Like, it's a culture. It's a cultural thing. You know, it's a cultural thing. We got a call on the line. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay. Miss Black, I've not listened to your show for a long time, but this is excellent. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I know Juan McCartney also does because I always listen to him. But nevertheless, a friend of mine some years ago was doing part-time work for social services, and they sent her to Eleuthera. And after 6 months going up there, she quit because she couldn't stand seeing so many women and children. Hello? So many women and children being raped by different sets of people. Now, as far as I'm concerned, all the ladies... Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All the ladies who have just come into this new PLP government, I think someone needs to approach them and see if they can all get together and do something about what is going on with our children and what the violence with our ladies is. Because if you drive around Nassau, there are sufficient abandoned buildings or buildings that are locked up and everything else. Now, why can't we try and talk to someone who owns the buildings and have the buildings be like a refuge for ladies and children instead of them being pushed here and pushed there, and have the place all modernized and clean and everything so they can be respectful and at the same thing, they can be safe. I'll go now and listen, and listen to what she has to say. But I really appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate you too. And and we need to find safe spaces. And I love that idea, but we need to make sure, especially women of domestic abuse, where the perpetrators come in. Did we ever find out what happened to the young woman or the mother who died in the bushes in Nassau Village? Did we ever hear what happened to that case? We need to find places that are safe. And so some things can be off the grid. I'd like shelters for domestic violence persons need to be off the grid. And they need to be taken to another island, somewhere where they can catch themselves, be away from the perpetrator. We need to really work on these things. And the country is so small where how can you not, who beaten up, the neighbors can tell you. One of the stories was that one of the witnesses from this case was that, from Bella's case, was that the mother ran out naked. This is the issues that were going on in the house. So this is what is so very vexing to me, is that these stories aren't new. And baby Bella is one of many. And that is what is the really painful thing, is that baby Bella is one of many. Mothers, y'all need to protect your children. Since they are with us most of the time, this falls on you. You know how many adults tell stories about how their mothers later in life still haven't apologized for knowing that they were molested by their boyfriend, molested by their daddy? You know how many grown women are carrying that? But they go to work every day. They got to get up for their children. And then you got grandmothers, God help them, who were trying to carry the Lord, but Grammy wasn't trying to be a new mother. And so we got another call on the line. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Nahaja.
Good afternoon, my friend. How you doing?
Yeah, another sad day, Nahaja. Another sad day, but what I would like to see, right? You see the way all of a sudden over the last 18 months, we pushing this COVID, right? Every angle, right? In a way, I'm glad that happened. Let me tell you this why. Right? Because now we have an idea how to get other things done. Like what we going through right now with these child molestations for all of these years from I was a child and still up to now, right? We could use the same strategy that we use for COVID-19 to push whatever matter that exists, and we should get some results, if you understand what I'm saying, right? Because everybody seems to be, in agreement, because the media, hello?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
The media and the world is pushing this item, right? But we need to push child molestation on the same level. If that's the point I'm trying to make, if you understand what I'm saying. We need to push this on the same level of COVID-19 is being pushed. And, because this is a serious matter and it was happening for too long in this country, man.
Yeah. Too long?
Yeah, man. And see, Nahaja, we have a system in this country where 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds get impregnated, right? And then they go to a school, and whoever impregnate them, nobody never gets to see, nobody never gets to know. The young girl is stuck with the child, and then, it just goes on and 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 on, right? They provide a whole system for it. What if every young girl would go pregnant and went to that school, they had to identify the person would impregnate them, and if that person was you know what I'm saying? We have to be serious in this country, but it appears that the children and the elderly, ain't nobody there to help them. In this country. So sad, man. But have a nice day.
Thank you. I appreciate the call, man. I appreciate the call. a quick break. CA, boy, I tell you, someone says I would put my sister in jail and her son 30. That's how mad I am. It's like we do this, like the same. It's like we doing the same merry-go-round on this. And right now, a baby needs help. Someone needs help.
And the question, Nahaja, is what is next? What should we be doing? Perhaps there are a number of persons who want to help and just do not know what to do. And this is where we come in now to give solutions that for the next time, Bahamians who are out there hearing the cries next door, that they know that they need to go call the police and intervene. So perhaps we just need to give out ideas, solutions that people who are minded to will be able to take advantage of such.
And something I wanted to put here before we go to break. What is child sexual abuse? Asking a child to strip in front of you, masturbating in front of a child, touching a child's genitals or private areas, inappropriately touching a child, watching, looking at, or possessing child pornography, watching pornography with a child, penetrating a child with finger, penis, or object, forcing a child to touch him or herself in front of you or on camera, taking naked photos or videos of a child. All of those things are child sexual abuse. All. There ain't no way around it. If you say something, if you see something, listen, tell everybody. Because now let the law step in. It's rather to be safe than sorry. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life stresses. At Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa, you will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
We are working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
What does Christmas mean to you? What about the joy and satisfaction you get in starting the home projects you've wanted to do all year? CIBC First Caribbean helps you make your Christmas wishes come true with easy and flexible financing on personal loans. Apply online and smile all the way this holiday season. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. CA and Yuri joining me on the show. CA, we got another caller. Let's get to this caller. Caller, you're on The Hit Back. Welcome.
A pleasant good afternoon, Miss Black. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, Sparky. How are you, my friend?
Sparky here. Sorry to hear that gentleman, ill-minded gentleman, nearly rang your bell today, but You know, one of the things we have a problem with, most of these situations come from the corners and the little neighborhoods we grew up, you know. Just the way they used to talking to women and so forth and doing things all their life growing up. So when they do these things, it's just almost natural. Now, you might have been well trained by from a different type of upbringing. So when he jump in your direction, you're ready for him, and you never lost your cool. But Miss Black, if you really listen to scenarios around here, and what we're talking about with the poor young lady that lost her life, look at our situation in the country, especially in this little island, one of the smallest islands in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but it's called the capital. The majority of the population stays in this little island because of the way we set up. And look at us. The majority of the population is black. If you look at TV or listen to radio, all the religious leaders, everyone you hear is black. You listen to talk shows, all the talk show hosts, black. You watch the TV, all the people on our TV, black. You look at our political leaders, all of them black. Our social leaders in the social government department, they black. But the majority of the people who own all the money and all the big time businesses, they're white. The Indians, the Chinese, and the white people. We don't see them all over the hill carrying on doing this foolishness. They go to work, they make money. We don't even know where most of them live. We know the areas where they live. We don't see them being marched to court up and down, driving down the road in the bus lane between Foxhill and Nassau Street every day and stuff like that. How come these people most of them went to the same schools our children go to, but after school they go into the family business, behave themselves and so forth, and us little picky-head people, all we do is talk, try to make a talk show exciting, but we never do nothing about it. Every year we keep saying the same thing over and over. We can do this, we can do that, we can do stronger laws, we can do this and that, but we never do it, and the same thing continues to happen. Most of the police, when they go to work, they become a different animal, but when they knock off, they live it right to Two-Peach Corner where the criminal is. They all mix it up together, just like cow salad, but nothing ever changes. We need to put the laws in place and enforce them. I just saw, before I go, Miss Black, I just saw a video somebody sent me where some must in Africa. These poor little young men or whatever it is, apparently they must have been caught doing something against the law.
Real quick, Sparky, I got another caller. Sorry.
Against the law of the community, right? You know what they did to them? They put a tie around each one of them, tie their hand behind their back with wire, pour gasoline on them and light them on fire. That's the end of them.
Sparky, oh Lord, Sparky trying to do a whole massacre. Mind you, I believe in justice, but that one there. We got another call on the line. Martha said, "Amen, Sparky." Burn him, tie him up. We got another call on the line. Call you on the hit back. Welcome.
Hi, Miss Black. So I need your advice on something. You or CA Murray could respond to this. What I'm trying to understand is when you have persons who are involved in domestic violence, right? So you have a mother. She's in an unhealthy relationship. She's being abused. He's blocking her eyes. She's covering it up when she goes to work. But yet she still brings her child in that unhealthy situation. And so I'm trying to figure out, do you just let her conscience be a guide, or should she be also charged for aiding and abetting because you were in an unhealthy relationship? You know he was abusive. You know he was mentally sick. But yet you sent for your child. The family said she would curse them out. And she sent for that child to place that child in that home. And them are saying that 2 weeks before this occurred, the child ran out the home to a neighbor saying that she doesn't want to go back. And so I have also had neighbors who were involved in domestic abuse, and they had little children in the home, and we would call the police every time when they run inside their life. Police would come in. These girls are coming because for some mental reason, they just keep going back. And so I'm mentally trying to figure out what do you do, and then even for the person who is doing all of the abusing, they say they have a mental disorder, and so when you try to get them to go up to Sunderland, if they don't want to go, Sunderland says we can't accept them. So I'm really sitting trying to figure out what do you do, and should that mother also be charged for being a person that actually allowed this to happen to her daughter, or should we just let her conscience eat her away? I would hang up and
she could
listen
have
to your
conscience in
response.
jail. No, she could have a conscience in jail. No, she got to go to jail. No, I'm not there
Because
for that.
she was well aware of what was going on, and she was in an abusive relationship, and she asked him to send my daughter in this. That's what's hurting me the most. A 4-year-old who cannot defend or protect herself against that big grown man, and you would go to work and leave that child with him, knowing the type of monster he is. Oh God, I don't understand it.
Listen, and that's where that is where it hurts, But let me tell you what is the sickness that could possibly have been the motivation. I have spoken and I know of people, friends, acquaintances who will say that their mother used them as the buffer to stand in between the abuse.
Wow.
So some children are used by their mothers to be take that blow for me. So this is a sickness, sister.
That's it. It's a mental disease, because I had a neighbor and I literally moved because of it. I couldn't take it. This man would beat her and choke her until she passed out. And I would talk to her till I blew in the face trying to get her help. And she would say, okay, I gone, that's it. And by the next 3 weeks, they back together again. And so that's why the last time when she banged on my door, God forgive me, I didn't answer because I'm now putting my life at risk. And 2 weeks later, you back with him again. I don't know. I get passionate. Let me go before someone calls and tell me to calm down.
I appreciate you, my sister. And boy, this one cuts deep. Thank you so much for the call. Listen, it's real though. This is real. And when the sickness hits you, and for those who are abused and find themselves in the cycle of abuse, it's them trying to figure out, are they even deserving of getting out? But my thing is, you got to come to that reasoning yourself. Your job is to protect your child. Right now, adults, you decide if you want to stay in that abusive relationship. And sometimes it comes from, and it's from abuse you encountered as a child. That's why this brokenness, we have to protect our children. You can't expect a better Bahamas if we keep allowing our children to be a part of the deathbed, the foundation of corpses that line the beaches of this country. Caller, you're on the head back. Welcome.
Yes, good evening. Hey, Nahaja, how are you? Wonderful show as usual.
Thank you, my brother.
We have failed many of our children. We have failed this young child at a very early age, and it is despicable. Okay, as a man, I am ashamed, and as a guardian, I feel responsible. What we need to do, men, sometimes we read the wrong thing from another female or a child. As a man, you should know that you just don't go there. Okay, even if mommy allow it, okay, that you just shouldn't go there. And as a growing country, we've got to grow and we've got to pay the consequences. Okay, because we know better. You send the child to the pastor for help, and the pastor helps himself. That is wrong. Okay, he goes into prison and gets a store and then come back out and opens up a big brand new church with more women in it that was in it before. Okay, we are sanctioning these things. These things are wrong. We're hurting our children. Who is going to protect them tomorrow? They are looking for us to look out for them. We must build a country and a better one. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate it. I think, do we have another call on the line? Caller, you're on the air. Okay, no other caller. All right. So, CA, at this point, it's just, and it's some good text messages. But your thoughts?
No, I wanted to go through the text message because, I want the majority of people to give their input. But clearly, this problem belongs to all of us. We need to own it, right? Cast and blame, it will not solve this. Bella lost her life because we failed her, because we didn't demand of things of our politicians or of our society. And if we did do that, if the neighbors did intervene, if we did intervene and make sure laws were in place, she may have been alive right now. But I would love to hear some of the text if you do have it.
Yeah, I got a few text messages. Somebody says, all we can do now, as sad as it is accept the fact that we have failed Bella. But more importantly, how do we save the next Bella? And the next, Bertram, and the next Jamal, and the next Susan, and all of these children. Someone says, when we change laws, it has to circle in anyone like Canada, which includes charging anyone who may know and suspect but does not report, relatives, neighbors, teachers, medical persons, etc. Someone says, good evening, Mrs. Black. Awesome show as always. My condolences to the family of baby girl Bella. What the heck, Sparky, going on with? It is offensive talking about picky head. Someone says, social services could have removed the child if the mother refused to leave the abusive relationship. Yes. So the system failed in multiple ways. No one checking in on the vulnerable during the lockdowns. No reporting. Neighbors, when she begged for help, why were the police called there last year? Someone says, I agree with you. Someone says, we are too reliant on government to set policy. We, the people, have the true power and must demand that our needs be met. The corruption in this country is the main issue. This is why justice isn't served to the perpetrators of crime. Too many people benefit from corruption. And as they say, bleep rolls downhill. When will we stop playing in the mud? Someone says a mother failed her completely, period. And fathers, please, you don't like the mother? If you just be there for your baby. Mothers, stop withholding your child from their father. He may not have been a good boyfriend. Once he is not abusive, he's not an alcoholic. He is deserving of being. No man is perfect. I love my father to the ends of the earth. He ain't perfect, but that's my daddy. And I'm happy that he is my father. So let's come on now. The village got to work together. Something here, signs of abuse. Does the child complain that he doesn't want to visit someone? Child sexual abuse victims may not tell someone about the abuse. Instead, they may refuse to visit certain people. They may cry every time they have to see a relative, go to a community event, or even attend religious services. If a child typically enjoys these activities, trying to avoid them is a huge red flag. It may indicate child sexual abuse. It may also indicate other forms of child abuse. Be aware. However, your child may never admit the reason relates to abuse. Another point to notice, does an adult provide your child and you with inappropriate gifts and affection? Child sexual abusers will not only work to gain a child's trust, he or she will also work to gain the parent's trust. This behavior is known as grooming. A sexual abuser will groom a child and family to accept the behavior as normal. They will work to convince everyone involved to trust him and allow him time alone with the child. Grooming is another way an abuser can convince a child that reporting sexual abuse will be ignored. The abuser convinces the child that everyone trusts him and knows he would never do anything wrong to hurt a child. He would use phrases like, do you think your mommy and daddy would let me around you if they thought I would hurt you? The child may even begin to repeat things said by the abuser because he thinks the abuser wants what is best. Pay attention to these comments and ideas. They may be red flags that your child is experiencing grooming or sexual abuse. Another one, is your child beginning to act out in home and at school? Another one, has your child's behavior changed? Victims of child sexual abuse will exhibit strange behaviors. They may start to withdraw from others. They may begin sleeping in your room or stop sleeping altogether. Maybe your child will start wetting the bed at night. These changes are significant changes. Is your child in pain? Sometimes child sexual abuse results in pain for children. Your child may experience burning or itching in their genital areas. They may be sore and bruises around their genitals and thighs. This pain is often associated with sexual abuse. Listen, we need to know the signs. Have a good one, everyone. Keep all of our children in prayer. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio. C.A. Nuri, special thanks, Apostle Benjamin Smith. Let's stay in prayer, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.